The best piece of advice that I ever received is that you are what you think about. Everything that you think about, you become. You become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behaviors. Behaviors leads to lifestyle. Lifestyle determines your destiny. So everything begins in the mind. If you can control and wield your mind, you can very much determine your destiny.
When I have a higher purpose, I find the energy and the courage to go outside my comfort zone. And then I can do things other people can't do.
You need to understand, like, everything in life and initially feels like bad reinforcement. You start going to the gym, you feel weak in order to become strong. You go to the library, you read, you don't understand, you feel stupid in order to become smart. The process of discomfort is inevitable. You have to go through it. Most people have that initial feeling, that initial lack of self-belief, because they don't understand that they have to be humbled first in every aspect in order to grow.
The best way to find what you love in life is by doing something you hate. A cushy job, a cool job, a job that you like is comfortable. That comfort breeds complacency, and that complacency breeds stagnation. So you just kind of stay there because it's a fine job, even though it may not be your dream or your passion.
Avoid discomfort, right? A lot of us, we have new things. You have to take risks. You have to learn things, and it's uncomfortable because you will suck, right? Of course you will suck. It's normal to suck. But people avoid discomfort because they don't want to go through that. And it's so silly. The discomfort that they're feeling is the judgment they impose upon themselves about not being good at something they've never done before. How insane is that?
Everyone's so upset and disappointed they don't know their passion, and I tell them, this is the best day of your life. You have to explore for the next 3 years. Just do a bunch of things.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, what do you have?
What makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else.
I don't want to live in a hole anymore. It makes me feel poor.
We are poor, but we're happy.
Come see, come ça. Anyway, the views are better above ground. Honey, I'm 7 non-Fox years old now. My father died at 7.5. I don't want to live in a hole anymore. And I'm going to do something about it.
To be successful at anything, the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts. If you look at all my teammates here tonight, it would be impossible to find better examples of men who embody that work ethic, integrity, purpose, determination, and discipline that it takes to be a champion in life.
You can't just say you want it. You can't watch the video and say, I want it as bad as I want to breathe. It's cute to say it. But when it's showtime, when the sun comes up, you've got all the books, you've got all the tapes, you've got all the access. Now it's time to hunt. And what separates you from everybody else is that when it's time to hunt, you're ready to hunt.
Take charge of your life. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family. That's not a requirement of society, but you must make it a requirement of yourself.
You got people that know sports through and through, and to the public, they're public success, but behind closed doors, they're private failure. They can't get the same energy and the same passion to every aspect of their lives. Like to the thing they're passionate about, they can do it like no other. But in every aspect of their lives, they can't take that energy, that passion, that level of dedication and commitment to everything that they do and understand that it's a representation of who they are. Like at the end of the day, the core of who they are, it's almost like when you look at Adidas, you know impossible is nothing. When you look at Nike, you think just do it. And so I always ask people, when I look at you, what do I think? Excuses. Like when I look at you, do I think victory? Do I look at you, do I think, man, that's a champion right there. That's a guy that I know I can rely on. And when things go south, he's still going to show up and give me everything he got. I told a guy 2 weeks ago, I said, brother, everybody know what to do when everything go right.
I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, before all of these people, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best. That's the California Maritime way. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. Better isn't good enough if it can be best.
This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy.
After you walk out this door, you will receive 100 doors shut, slam in your face. You will have 100 moments that will be filled with someone telling you no. Or telling you, thank you for your application, but we regret to inform you that we've chosen a different candidate for this job. You will sit in 100 different interviews and you will not get the job. The reality of life is that we will all hear more no's than we hear yeses. And we will fail a lot, and I mean a whole lot. But what I ask of you today is to not take no for an answer. Don't be afraid of no's. Be afraid of the possibility of a yes that you have prematurely destroyed because you decided to quit before the clock strikes 12.
Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial, because it lets you know that, like, everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning.
Almost every really successful, happy man or woman will say that the reason for their success is that they are doing what they love to do. Whenever a person is unhappy for any reason, I always ask them how much they enjoy their work. And would they choose to do this type of work if there were other options open to them? Invariably, when someone is generally unhappy with their life, especially a man, they are dissatisfied with their work for some reason.
If you don't enjoy what you're learning and you just feel like you're learning to do something that was expected of you since you were a kid, that your parents wanted for you or that society wanted for you, you're not going to enjoy it. And that alone is going to hurt how much you learn. People who enjoy learning something can be so much better at people who are just innately smart.
I would like to know when you're in that moment failing and you have to keep going, what do you say to yourself?
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a 200 mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be?
It's those day-by-day goals that make those big things happen, okay?
But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, you for whatever reason. You never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those gifts. And there they are standing around your bed looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what leadership, what books, what gifts will die with you?
Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay, do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide a house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success.
Nothing's ever going to be given to you. Everything's going to be earned. If you don't go out there and put in the work, you don't go out and put in the effort, one, you're not going to get the results. But two, and more importantly, you don't deserve it. You didn't earn it. And so that defined my upbringing, that defined my career.
And I was like, why did you retire? You were at the top of your game. And he said, I'd done everything I wanted to do and I had no motivation. You know what I mean? And when I got to, after the Rio Olympics, that's exactly how I felt. Because my main aim was to win 3 Olympics. That's what I wanted to do, set the bar high. And after that, my motivation kind of just went whoosh. So for me, it's, if you have no motivation to do anything, it doesn't make any sense because you're not going to put your 100% into it.
Mentality of a winner. I think for me, it's always been wanting to do something different. I don't want to just exist. I want to ultimately live to my full potential. I think it's just wanting to be great in some way, shape, or form. And I think over time, after reading certain books and being inspired by people, I realized that I think we're all a bright light, and it's up to us how bright we shine that light.
So we live in a world that we want to be as comfortable as we can. And we wonder why we have no growth. We wonder why when the smallest thing in our life gets difficult, we wonder why we cower and we run away. Because we are kind of living our whole life is set that way. Our whole life is set up in the path of least resistance. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to feel discomfort. So the whole time we're living our lives in a very comfortable area. There's no growth in that.
That the worst feeling in the world is to be facing death and to think, damn it, I've wasted my life. And I want people out there to realize that if you're 20s and your 30s, you don't want to reach that point. You don't want to waste your time and become 55, 58, have a stroke, face death, and what have you done? Nothing. You moved from job to job. You tried this, you tried that with half the energy. You really have nothing to look back on. That's the worst feeling.
Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test was 9 dots. And you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing at a park bench. It could mean jail. It can mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
I've known a lot of people that were very successful because no one else believed in them. But I don't know anybody that's ever been successful if they didn't believe in themselves. See, you can be successful if other people don't believe in you. You can overcome those odds and that opposition. But if you don't believe in yourself, no way. You just aren't going to make it.
I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love. And that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit.
Be willing to put in the work. But now this work part is hard. Success is hard. But let me ask you a question. Ain't not being successful hard too? So now which hard you want? You want the hard with some options and some benefits, or you want the hard where ain't nothing going on?
You know, it's funny. Everybody wants a shortcut, right? That's the most common question people always ask me. Tell me the key.
Yeah.
And there is no magic. It's just a lot of little things you got to do every day. Success is all those boring, sexy things that have to get done every single day to move the ball forward.
The Mamba mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day you're trying to become better. And it's a constant quest. It's an infinite quest.
Okay, let me show you this that I had to learn. Albert Einstein said that imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. That's what your imagination is. Your imagination is actually very, very real. Everything you imagine could be a preview to life's coming attraction. Everything we have today came from somebody's imagination.
They're afraid of success. They're afraid of how good that's going to feel because It's something unique to them. It's something different. It's something they want. It's something